1. When designing a training module for new certified customs specialists, which approach best ensures adult learners remain engaged in complex regulatory topics? A. Relying solely on lecture-based delivery. B. Incorporating case studies from real customs scenarios. C. Using lengthy memorization drills of tariff codes. D. Presenting regulations without contextual examples. 2. A supervisor must evaluate the accuracy of customs documentation completed by trainees. Which evaluation method best balances compliance verification and adult learning principles? A. Written exam only. B. Peer-reviewed mock declarations. C. Open book recall tests. D. Observation without feedback. 3. When mentoring a junior customs specialist, which communication strategy most effectively ensures understanding of tariff classification complexities? A. Using technical jargon without clarification. B. Encouraging the mentee to explain their reasoning aloud. C. Correcting mistakes immediately without discussion. D. Providing pre-written notes for rote memorization. 4. A trainer is creating a customs compliance workshop. Which curriculum development step should occur first to align with regulatory requirements? A. Drafting assessment tools before defining objectives. B. Selecting delivery methods before identifying learner needs. C. Reviewing current customs regulations and compliance guidelines. D. Designing course evaluations before setting learning outcomes. 5. Which mentoring technique best promotes self-directed learning for a certified customs specialist preparing for audits? A. Assigning independent research projects on customs rulings. B. Providing the answers to practice questions directly. C. Requiring attendance at mandatory webinars without interaction. D. Repeating information until memorized. 6. During an evaluation, a trainer observes that a trainee consistently misapplies valuation principles. What should the trainer do first to address this error effectively? A. Retest the trainee without feedback. B. Provide detailed corrective feedback with regulatory references. C. Ignore the mistake to avoid discouragement. D. Assign additional, unrelated practice questions. 7. In a training session on customs audits, which strategy best supports adult learning principles? Encouraging role-play exercises simulating audit interviews. B. Requiring rote memorization of all audit forms. C. Delivering a 2-hour lecture without engagement. D. Providing only a written manual for review. 8. Which communication method is most effective when training customs specialists on regulatory updates? A. Sending a long email with no discussion. B. Hosting an interactive Q&A webinar. C. Posting uncontextualized statutes on a bulletin board. D. Assigning self-paced reading without follow-up. 9. When creating evaluation tools for customs compliance training, which principle is most important? A. Focus exclusively on factual recall. B. Measure application of knowledge in real-world scenarios. C. Prioritize speed over accuracy. D. Avoid testing complex decision-making skills. 10. A customs training instructor wants to ensure retention of information about free trade agreements. Which technique is most effective? A. Designing scenario-based exercises involving FTA eligibility. B. Asking learners to copy agreement text by hand. C. Delivering one-way lectures without discussion. D. Providing answer keys before attempting questions. 11. Which approach best ensures regulatory compliance is integrated into the mentoring process for customs specialists? A. Assigning regular practice on mock customs declarations with feedback. B. Limiting feedback to final test results only. C. Encouraging personal opinions over regulations. D. Reducing emphasis on documentation standards. 12. When evaluating a customs specialist's knowledge of tariff schedules, what is the most effective assessment strategy? A. Multiple choice exams only. B. Scenario-based classification exercises. C. Open-ended essays on international trade theory. D. True-false recall tests. 13. Which communication strategy fosters collaboration in a customs compliance training session? A. Facilitating group problem-solving activities. B. Delivering information without interaction. C. Requiring learners to remain silent during case studies. D. Providing one-way PowerPoint slides. 14. A customs trainer notices learners struggle with valuation principles. Which curriculum adjustment is most effective? A. Incorporate real-world valuation case studies. B. Reduce the module length and skip examples. C. Assign more memorization of valuation codes. D. Replace group work with independent silent reading. 15. Which mentoring approach best builds confidence in junior customs specialists? A. Acknowledging progress while guiding corrections. B. Criticizing mistakes without offering solutions. C. Withholding feedback until the end of training. E. Providing only written manuals for self-study. 16. A compliance manager is designing evaluations for customs staff. Which feature ensures fairness and accuracy? A. Clear alignment with defined learning objectives. B. Surprise testing with no preparation. C. Avoiding assessment of application skills. D. Using only subjective grading criteria. 17. In training on import-export documentation, which method supports both regulatory compliance and adult learning? A. Simulating end-to-end customs clearance procedures. B. Reading aloud the Customs Act word for word. C. Memorization of glossary terms only. D. Providing unstructured, open discussions. 18. Which mentoring strategy promotes continuous improvement in customs compliance? A. Regular review sessions with feedback on actual work samples. B. One-time training with no follow-up. C. Avoiding difficult topics to reduce learner stress. D. Allowing mistakes to go uncorrected. 19. A customs instructor must evaluate communication skills during mock border interviews. Which assessment is most appropriate? A. Role play with performance-based rubrics. E. Multiple choice test on interview theory. C. True-false quiz on customs regulations. D. Silent written test. 20. When developing curriculum for a customs audit preparation course, which step ensures regulatory alignment? A. Mapping course content directly to current customs laws. B. Designing activities without referencing regulations. Using outdated compliance manuals for efficiency. D. Prioritizing learner interest over legal requirements. 21. Which communication approach helps resolve misunderstandings in customs procedures training? A. Encouraging clarification questions throughout sessions. B. Limiting questions until the final exam. C. Using only written instructions with no verbal explanation. D. Correcting errors without discussion. 22. A trainer wants to measure critical thinking in tariff classification. Which method is best? A. Case-based decision-making exercises. B. True-false quizzes. C. Rote memorization of HS codes. D. Fill-in-the-blank recall drills. 23. When evaluating a customs specialist's mentoring skills, which criterion is most important? A. Ability to provide constructive feedback linked to regulations. B. Ability to recite compliance codes verbatim. C. Avoiding discussion of trainee errors. D. Focusing solely on administrative paperwork. 24. Which curriculum development principle ensures effective customs training programs? A. Objectives, content, and assessment alignment. B. Prioritizing trainer preference over learner needs. C. Ignoring regulatory updates during planning. D. Designing activities unrelated to compliance. 25. A customs specialist is being mentored on handling export violations. Which technique best reinforces compliance responsibility? A. Reviewing actual violation case studies. B. Ignoring sensitive compliance issues. C. Memorizing unrelated sections of tariff codes. D. Limiting training to generic workplace rules. 26. Which communication practice best addresses cultural differences in customs training sessions? A. Encouraging open dialogue and respecting diverse perspectives. B. Avoiding discussion of cultural considerations. C. Using only technical terminology. D. Ignoring learner backgrounds. 27. Which evaluation strategy most effectively measures practical customs compliance skills? A. Observation of simulated clearance processes. B. Matching exercises of customs terms. C. Multiple choice tests on general trade concepts. D. Crossword puzzles on tariff codes. 28. A trainer notices learners are disengaged during a session on import quotas. Which adjustment is most effective? A. Incorporating group analysis of real trade data. B. Extending lecture time without interaction. C. Assigning additional reading with no discussion. D. Skipping quota topics altogether.